what can happen then is we end up living vicariously through our role models, through our heroes, instead of using them to inspire us of the possibilities, to inspire us of what we ourselves are capable of.
You're listening to Path of the Wizard, and I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
All right, welcome to Path of the Wizard. That's right, Path of the Wizard. My name is Ronnie Cruz, your host for this amazing adventure. And if you are looking for Path of the Jedi, do not turn your dials. You are in the right place. You are in the right place. It is the month of December, and as I mentioned, if you've listened back to the past episodes, we're going to flip things up here this month and focus our discussions around the Harry Potter movie franchise, right? My sister and I do Harry Potter marathons during the holidays. For us, there's something just naturally Christmassy about the Harry Potter franchise, the Harry Potter movies in particular. And so we've been doing these marathons every year. And so since we do the marathon and it's the holiday season, I thought, why not do something special here on the show and flip things up and let's talk about Harry Potter. Now, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan necessarily. I don't participate in the fandom like I do with Star Wars. I mean, you guys know I'm obsessed with Star Wars. The Harry Potter. I mean, I love Harry Potter. My only involvement, though, my only exposure to Harry Potter is through the films. Now, I did read the first two books in the series. However, I'm one of those kind of individuals who I prefer to watch a movie without any idea of what's going to happen. And so I stopped reading the books because I wanted to come in fresh as the movies came out, right? I wanted to go to the movies and have a new and fresh experience without having any idea of what's going to happen. Though that was enough for me. I mean, I really enjoyed the films as they were, and I never really had a desire to go back and read the books after that. So, I mean, I may go back and do it now, especially that we're doing this show, but that's probably something that's going to have to wait till next year, especially given how long some of those books are. So for now, we'll just stick to the movies. And so for this episode, we are going to be dealing with parts 1 and 2, the Sorcerer's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets. Right off the bat, we see some pretty distinct similarities between the two franchises, right? Between Harry Potter and Star Wars. And I guess the whole hero's journey thing, right, as a narrative convention, as a narrative tool, is pretty universal, so it makes perfect sense. The specific similarities between the two that I wanted to talk about today is, number one, the fact that our heroes are orphans, right? The entire Harry Potter series starts off with him as a baby being left on the doorstep, literally left on the doorstep of his aunt and uncle's house. I find that super, super interesting, and of course, personally relatable. If you guys go back to the very first episode of this show, you'll know why I have a connection with that particular theme. But beyond that, I'm finding it really fascinating how this particular character detail really affects the viewer or the reader of these stories, which I'm going to have to give it some more thought and cover in a future episode. But just keep that in mind. It's the fact that our main characters, our heroes in both Star Wars and in Harry Potter, are orphans. The next similarity is that we have in both franchises a character who is completely and utterly evil, who is incredibly powerful and influential, and has a master plan to take over the world. In this case, we have the character of Voldemort, who we can pretty much tick off each box in the requirements for supervillain bad guy, right? He's incredibly powerful. He wants to take over the world. He's even found a way to cheat death, right? That's a very Sith characteristic, right? If you want to draw parallels. And the thing is about Voldemort is he was actually defeated already once by our hero, Harry Potter, when Harry Potter was just, again, a child, right? A baby. So this leads me to the last similarity between the two franchises and the one that I really want to focus on, and that is how our heroes are the chosen ones, right? How they're destined to do great things, how they're prophesied to save all of humanity.
So while Harry is incredibly relatable, right? You want to be on his side, you want to back him up, and you want to pull for him. This orphan who was left in the world alone to fend for himself. There's also that side of him that potentially can feel inaccessible because, right? He's destined to do great things because he's the chosen one. Of course, that's completely unconscious, and it happens more often than you might think. For example, you may have some role models right now for, let's say, Will Smith or The Rock, right? Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and I'm just throwing names out there, whoever it might be, Elon Musk, whatever. Individuals who, by societal standards, have achieved quote unquote great things and have done great things, have attained great things. And we hold our role models on such high pedestals that unconsciously, more and more, they become special, they become different, they have a thing that maybe the rest of us don't have. What can happen then is we end up living vicariously through our role models, through our heroes, instead of using them to inspire us of the possibilities, to inspire us of what we ourselves are capable of. I'm telling you right now, there's nothing special about Will Smith. There's nothing special about The Rock. There's nothing special about anybody who you choose as a role model. You have the same innate, inherent capability as any one of those individuals that you look up to. The only reason why Harry Potter is the hero, why he's the chosen one, why he's destined to save all of humanity is because that's how the author, J.K. Rowling, chose to write the story. That's it. It's really that simple. And she's actually another great example because in writing Harry Potter, in writing the story the way she did, she was actively writing her own story. She charted her own trajectory and ultimately created her own destiny. If you look at any other person of note, anybody that you might look up to, anybody that you hold as a role model, you'll see that they've done the same thing. And again, these people are no different from you and me. Each and every one of us has the same inherent and innate capabilities. And the only thing that accounts for the differences in results is how we choose to use those abilities. As the great and wise Dumbledore says in The Chamber of Secrets, it is not our abilities that show what we truly are, it is our choices. To illustrate this further, I'm going to bring in a third franchise into the conversation. That is The Matrix. I love Matrix. I love the entire franchise. And the beauty of it is that it really has a lot of parallels with what we're talking about here today, the hero's journey, and the fact that our main character, Neo, is a chosen one, right? He is the one, as they say in the movie. Now, the difference between that story and the other stories, the Harry Potter story and the Star Wars saga with the Skywalkers, is that it wasn't so much that Neo or Mr. Anderson was destined to do great things. Sure, he was, but he didn't actually fulfill that destiny. He didn't fulfill his greatness until he chose it, right? Until he chose to believe. In that pivotal scene on the subway platform when Agent Smith arrives, Neo has a choice to either run or stand his ground. In the meantime, Trinity and Morpheus are watching this unfold on the screen, and Trinity's like, what's he doing? Why is he not running? Morpheus' answer is, he's beginning to believe. It's at this moment that Neo decides to stand his ground and square off with Agent Smith, who, at this point, was completely unbeatable. Neo's decision to face seemingly impossible odds is a decision to accept his own greatness, to accept his own limitless capability. He chose to believe in himself. And if you look at any hero's journey, any story that has a hero's journey pattern to it, whether it's Luke Skywalker's, whether it's Harry Potter's, whether it's Neo's, you'll see that there's always that pivotal moment where the character has to make a choice. And it's that choice that ultimately leads to greatness. So when you're looking at role models, instead of maybe holding them up on a pedestal or idolizing them, look at them as a template, right? Model their belief systems, model their choices. Because here's the thing, there's only one story that really matters, and that's yours. And in that story, you're not only the hero, you're also the author. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. As you can see, it's still the Jedi theme that plays there at the end. I didn't have time to make a Harry Potter theme to close things out, but anyways, you guys, I know, won't care too much. So what do you guys think of today's episode? I would love to hear your thoughts and reflections. You can shoot me an email with the title of today's episode in the subject heading. And yeah, just like I said, let me know what you think and if any of this resonates with you. And of course, if you like it, please, by all means, pass it on. If you find value in this episode or in any of the episodes that we've had in the past, I can almost guarantee that somebody else will as well. So feel free to share. And for those of you on Apple Podcasts, please feel free to rate and review. Always love to get those from you guys. And of course, if you're not already subscribed to the show, please go ahead and subscribe so that you get all our future episodes, right? Next week, we'll have another Harry Potter episode. I know I was kind of all over the place with this one and speaking in pretty broad topics, but I'll narrow it down a little bit more on the next one and keep it as much as possible to Harry Potter. Beyond that, if you're not already following us on social media, feel free to follow us. We're on the Facebook and the Twitter. It's POTJ Podcast for both of those things. And of course, you can visit our website, pathofthejedi.com, for all the latest news. You get full transcripts of all the episodes that are released, as well as a recommended reading list. And speaking of reading list, starting this Sunday, I'll be hosting discussions revolving around the book Think and Grow Rich. So if you want to participate in that, number one, go ahead and hop over to our website, Recommended Reading, grab yourself a copy of Think and Grow Rich, and then email me with Think and Grow Rich in the subject heading and let me know that you want to participate. I'll send you the Zoom link for this Sunday. That happens at 8 p.m. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time this Sunday. So again, that's Think and Grow Rich discussion group. Let me know if you want to participate. As a reminder, I will be in Pennsylvania this weekend in the Hershey-Harrisburg area there, doing an event for my local team. So if you are local and would like to get together, would like to meet up and talk about everything Star Wars, everything personal development, even Harry Potter, Matrix, right? We talked about Matrix today. Whatever you want to talk about, right? Or even if you want to learn about my network marketing company, Yoli, I would love to share that information with you if you want to join us for our event on Saturday. So hit me up again on any of our social feeds, Twitter, Facebook. It's POTJ Podcast, or you can email info@pathofthejedi.com. And of course, no episode would be complete without the shout out. So this week's shout out goes to my dear longtime friend, Matthew Michael Woods. Matt Woods. Love you, brother. I just wanted to give you a shout out because, well, just to let you guys know a little bit about Matt and I, our history. We go way back to our college days. We're acting buddies from the theater program in college. I acted in all of his student film projects. I was the De Niro to his Scorsese, right? And then he got me up to New York a few years later, right after we got out of college. He was the reason I went up to New York. He produced a 2-man show that he and I performed in called The Woman in Black, which that kind of ties in today's topic because that later on was made into a film starring Daniel Radcliffe, who we all know is actually Harry Potter pretending to be an actor named Daniel Radcliffe, right? So Matt and I have also done radio plays together. We've written a full-length feature script together. So Matt and I have a long history together. And he's gone on to expand himself as an artist and now has a budding career in vocal performance or voice acting. So I just wanted to get on here and congratulate Matt and celebrate him for everything that he's done and of course for being an integral part of my life through the years. So brother, this shout out goes to you. And that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you again next week. And if you guys, by the way, notice any inconsistencies in the recording quality or the audio quality, it is because I am not home. I am traveling, so I am recording mobily, which means laptop and earbuds. So next week will more than likely be the same situation. So I thank you in advance for your patience with any inconsistencies in the audio quality. But either way, you're going to get great content nonetheless. So until next time, everybody be well, be safe, and as always, may the Force be with you.
This podcast is not endorsed by the
Warner Brothers,
nor
J.K. Rowling,
and is intended for entertainment, educational, and informational purposes only. The official
Harry Potter
website can be found at
Wizardingworld.com. Harry Potter.
All names and sounds and any other
Harry Potter
related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of
Warner Brothers
and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is intellectual property of Path of the Jedi unless otherwise indicated.
Mischief managed.